the type of language that you use, the manner in which you relate with people inside the organization and outside the organization will determine whether you are at the center of unification of our people. That is why one of the values in the Constitution of Umkhonto weSizwe is honesty and respect. Honesty to say that you must not tell lies and you must not claim easy victories. You must not make commitments on things that you cannot fulfill. And when you have made commitments, you must make sure that you fulfill those commitments. And if you have failed to do so, you must go back to the people to explain what happened. And in terms of respect, he emphasizes that let us not insult anyone, including political opponents, even when they provoke us. That you can't call yourself an activist, a leader, a member of Umkhonto weSizwe, and when you are given a platform, you want to speak about the body parts of other people's leaders. And you want to speak about their intellectual capacity. What will Umkhonto weSizwe gain if we were to, every time we speak, we say, no, these ones are stupid. This one is a dumb cop. And then later on, we want to unify these people behind one agenda. And you're talking about adults with children, characterizing them with all sorts of names. And later on, you say, no, as black progressive forces, we must unite. And these are the people that you must talk to. So Umkhonto weSizwe is founded on the principle of respect. And what is good about this principle is that it also finds expression in the code of conduct as well, that it will be a disciplinary issue to disrespect any person. Even a general member of the public, you are not allowed. That is what defines the organization. The other principle is the organic form of representation, that all activists, all leaders of Umkhonto weSizwe must be organic, must be guided by familiarity, by knowledge of what is happening in their communities. So you can't be in the legislature or in the parliament. You go to say in your speech that, no, according to the Daily Sun or according to Statistics South Africa, there is no water in Mhlaba Lingana and Jozini and Mtubatu. When you speak, you must be making a proper relatable story that I was in Mtubatuba yesterday, I was in Tabisa yesterday, I was in this area and I know the people do not have water. You should speak with authority on things that you know, not things that you have read in social media. That is the organic nature and character that we should build of Umkhonto weSizwe. The other principle and value is the principle of meritocracy and knowledgeability, that as leaders we should be knowledgeable. We should understand what we stand for. We should know the areas where we come from so that we are able to provide proper solutions. Comrades, we are going to be doing a lot of induction and constant discussions about the politics of Umkhonto weSizwe. So we had started the program in Limpopo and Mpumalanga, and then the president says, no, you can't continue with those programs because I want to be part of these provincial programs as well. Because some people might think that you are just speaking yourselves and representing yourselves. I want to be the one who comes to all the provinces to explain the constitution of Umkhonto weSizwe, so that those who say, no, we only listen to Obaba must listen from me and hear that this is what I'm saying. And there is none of the sections that I mistake in this constitution. You know, when the first draft of the Constitution was drafted, Viva MK Youth League, Viva. So, when the first section, when the first draft was presented, the proposal on the MK Youth League was 14 to 35, similar to Wagogo. And the president says, tell me what defines youth. Do you want a 14-year-old and a 35-year-old to belong in one organization, which is a preparatory school? How are they relatable? Because majority of people above the age of 30, they are fully established adults with children and many other obligations and responsibilities. And he says that we as Umkhonto weSizwe, we are not getting what are the voices of the youth now. We are not getting clearly what is the political agenda of the generation we call Ma 2000. Because they don't have a political voice. And naturally, if you group them in one organization with people who are far much older, who are 20 years older than them, the ones who are older than them will be dominant because they've got experience. Let's create a youth organization which will express the interests and aspirations of young people in a true form. That is the guidance that we got to receive. When President Zuma was 20 years old, he was a fully fledged freedom fighter. He was sent to Ruben Island at the age of 20. Before he was 35, he was in the National Executive Committee of the ANC in exile. And then he says that perhaps we made a mistake as those of us who came from exile, because when we came back, we said that youth is up until the age of 35, and then you have got adults who are above 30 towards 35, behaving like they are young people when they are not young people. When they are supposed to take full responsibility of the struggles of our people. Go and check what was the age of Thomas Sankara when he led Burkina Faso. Go and check at what age did Steve Biko die. Go and check all the revolutionary activists. So there is absolutely, we had a different view because we believed that it is supposed to be in Umkhonto weSizwe like it is in other organizations. And through proper political, ideological guidance, we all came to the conclusion that Umkhonto weSizwe Youth League must be closed at the age of 30. And that was the guidance of the president. And there is no one who is going to create any other fictional explanation. Those who are in the National High Command will tell you. And those who came to say they are seeking explanation, he said, let us meet outside. The former Youth League convener from Lower South Coast, from Ogu, was there. He explained the whole day to say, he even asked, how many of you have got children? And everyone else was raising their hand. So let's stop any imagination that there was some conspiracy to exclude people. There's no conspiracy, it's a political discussion. And a political conclusion raised within political context as to what kind of a youth movement do we need in Umkhonto weSizwe. The other issue, comrades, is that there is purposefully no conference, elective conference, in the constitution of Umkhonto weSizwe. Because we know the nature and character of conferences thus far. They are used as instruments of division. They are used as instruments to buy political parties and their direction. And President Zuma says that this organization is not for sale. We know that when you call a conference, they're going to sponsor candidates who are going to preside over you because they have accommodated people in fancy hotels and so on and so forth, like try to confuse them. Before you know it, they will be changing the agenda of Mkhonto weSizwe. They will be asking, what is this thing that we need the land? Can't you just raise money somewhere and go and buy the land? It says to protect the integrity of the organization. Let's move away from these elective conferences because the experience thus far is that conferences are used for wrong purposes. And we do not want to be trapped in such wrong purposes and agenda. We need to have a progressive organization. So some of the people on social media, for instance, were saying, why is President of Mkhonto weSizwe having so much powers? Do you know the powers of the president in this constitution as compared to the powers which he had as a head of state and president is nothing. As head of state and president, he had the power to appoint all ministers, the power to appoint all directors general, the power to appoint all judges, to even appoint and nominate a constitutional court head, the chief justice, the power to appoint army generals, the power to go to war without consulting anyone. Why would we distrust President Zuma with just administrative powers of appointing provincial conveners and coordinators? When we know that he has got the experience, he has always utilized political power responsibly. So it's not a mistake that everything else that is in this constitution is not a mistake, it's a well-thought process as to what is to be achieved. And there are so many things, comrades, which will give proper narrative and explanation of, which many people do not get to appreciate. It speaks here about the economic sovereignty. When President Zuma was president and head of state, and sometimes some of us were even misled, he understood that for a country to have full economic sovereignty or independence, you need to have energy sovereignty in terms of where is the source of your energy. Against all odds, he attempted to come with a nuclear build project, which there is nothing wrong with a nuclear build project. Nuclear is the cleanest source of energy, is the most reliable, is the cheapest source of energy. What was not properly explained by those who were leading that project is that the South African government did not have to spend a single cent on that project. We're supposed to engage in something called build, operate, and transfer, where those who have got the capacity to build a nuclear power station could build, operate it for a period of time, sell electricity to the state at the cheapest rate, and later on transfer it to the ownership of the state. But all sorts of voices were mobilized against that, such that we do not have total energy sovereignty. Independent power producers are being force-fed into South Africa. One of the things, by the way, as part of attaining energy sovereignty, was a decision which he had directed to buy engine. You know, this engine, the global company which gives fuel and petrol. He had given a directive that Petro SA must take over engine. which was going to protect the fuel sovereignty of South Africa. But because the establishment did not agree with that, they rubbished President Zuma. No. But also those who were around him were unable to explain to society that this is a correct progressive agenda that we must pursue. So throughout, we should not be ashamed, and we should speak boldly in terms of all the areas that got to happen. The Treasurer General reminds me that we are now going too deep into political discussion, and this is a fundraising dinner. So the fundraising dinner is that we appreciate and really cherish the contributions which the business community and everyone is giving to Umkhonto weSizwe. Went to elections without resources. Even now, there can be a claim that Umkhonto weSizwe has got a lot of resources. There still has to be establishment of the provincial office, of regional offices, and it will be sensible that here in eThekwini, outside of the regional office, there must be a point of contact at sub-regional level. There has to be a functional office of Umkhonto weSizwe in Umlazi, in KwaMashu, in Inanda, in Hammarsdale, in all corners of eThekwini, where the membership will be able to interact with the leadership of Umkhonto weSizwe. And all of that will require resources. So I would imagine that the leadership of the region, so if some of the donors cannot manage to give you money in cash, they can donate in kind and say, can I take care of rental of this office for the next 12 or 24 months? Can I take care of the following functions? Can I buy a buggy or transport so that the volunteers on the ground are able to move from point A to B? So we will appreciate that, because whatever happens, come rain, sunshine, thunderstorms, Umkhonto weSizwe is going to lead the government of eThekwini alone. And will do so in a responsible, responsive way, which will improve the lives of our people. So comrades, those are the few words which were mandated to talk about on behalf of the National High Command, on behalf of the President and Commander General of Umkhonto weSizwe Party. Thank you very much, Siyabonga.